This unidentified Elder Dragon is in the Coral Highlands. Let's head out, but proceed with caution.
This will be kind of easy. Be a good one to chat through. Stuff ready. How goes it? It goes. It definitely goes. It's Christmas season, and I work in retail, so it goes. It goes. It goes. The good news is, we have cranberry juice, we have wine, and we have Twitch. So we're gonna do our best. I forget. I have to look at my notes. Gracious. There's so many monsters. And, like, this is the one that has the least amount of monsters. Nice. Let's do ice. We like that. We like this. Forever to get this weapon. This one. Want that. Cranberry goes with vodka. It does. I don't have vodka. All I have is wine. I have the wine left over that my parents left here because I am apparently too lazy to go and get my own. Actually, I shouldn't say lazy. I should say I have a tendency to drink like a whole bottle at a time. So I go and get my wine and then I drink the whole bottle and then I wait for like another month or two before I do that again. Total Wine? What? You have a place called Total Wine? Oh God. Where am I living? We have like, although, what is our, you know, everything's named after the town that I live in, so it's like town liquor, you know. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to address is will it be Warren and Jasper next? That's a very big possibility. That's a good possibility that Warren and Jasper may be the next thing that we're doing. And I say that mostly because I don't have any idea what the next story was going to be. I didn't have anything planned. It could have been Cuthbert and Nathan. It could have been anything, but I was trying to keep to the theme of Alpha and Omega, and not like kind of venture away from that for Patreon stories. So that would fit the bill. And I also, you know, I've kind of fallen in love with this idea of having a chapter, the first chapter wedding. That really appeals to me because, you know, having these characters who don't know each other at all, don't know how to live with each other, they don't care about each other, nothing, there's nothing about each other that excites them, yet. So, that really, rustles my jimmies. Arranged marriages, you know, hey, who knew? By who knew? You knew. Gosh, where am I getting there? Oh, jeez, there he is. There's the boy. And look, he can just go downstairs. Like, he just goes through. Anyway. I really love that idea. I really love having the option to have these characters be utterly ambivalent to each other. That makes me think, you know, wow, you know, the hang that's available. I am. Right, chapter 1 wedding would be a lot different. I really like the idea of that. It being something that, you know, I haven't done before. I've mentioned arranged marriages, and I've had like late arranged marriages, such as Reg and Frank. But that is, you know, late. That was. Barely hear you over the game. Alright, hang on. I had this problem before. this problem before. Let me know if that fixes it. Way better already. Oh, okay, good. I feel like it gets super intense sometimes, and I always forget that the music gets like really intense whenever we're fighting. That's what makes my palms sweaty too, I found out. It is, it's the battles. Whenever the music gets really intense, my palms start sweating, and I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't have this background music on at all, because that's how I get nervous. And there's really no auditory clues in this game. Like, there's some things that, you know, you hear and you're like, oh, okay, I was healed by someone or something like that. But there's really no other auditory clues other than, oh, I was hit because my character made this sound, or, oh, I was healed because this happened. It's not super dependent on auditory clues. Come on. Damn this dragon. He had to duck his freaking head. Oh, good. You can probably hear me smashing buttons too. My parents are always like, I can hear you smashing buttons, and I'm like, well, you do realize you called me during this game, and this game has no pause. Like, I'm sorry. Button smash, button smash. It is a calculated button smash. I am hitting very specific buttons. The combos just allow for button smashing, that's all. No, I just got stomped on. Old and deaf. Well, that's how the boyfriend is. He deaf. On another note, I was thinking about themes for Warren and Jackson. Essentially just thinking about, you know, what ways do they interact with each other that's relatable. I think having Nora be there, that's going to create kind of like this scenario in which the two of them want to act as though they are siblings, but they are very clearly not. You know, they're gonna have this kind of like repressed sexual tension, and they're gonna have this like idea of each other that, you know, they don't want challenged, and then all of a sudden, oh shoot, I think he's sexy. Oh, come on, bug. There we go. The alpha feelings about someone who he doesn't know but lives with. Absolutely. Like, you know, he's just going to be like, oh, you know, like, I want to protect this individual. I want him to, you know, feel like he's safe with me. But also, and, you know, I want him to think I'm sexy, but also I don't know him. And I, you know, we don't have anything in common. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, about the time Warren is thinking, oh, you know, I have to protect him. I am his ruling alpha. You know, I want to be everything that I'm supposed to be. And Jasper being like, excuse me, I did not ask for any of this. This is not who I am. Essentially, like, very hollow about it, but you know, not coming to terms with it quite as easily as Hollow. Yeah, you don't know me. You know, you don't know me. I don't know you. I didn't ask for this. This isn't something that I decided. I had no choice, you know, but to do this. And I feel like he's going to resent. Oh my gosh, I hate this fucking bastard. Come down here, piece of shit. Oh, I cut off his tail? Oh, man. I didn't even realize I cut off his tail. Damn. Holy shit. I didn't realize that I did that. It's probably all the way up there in his nest, too. Whatever, it'll be there. Alrighty, now get my last buff, which can come from these guys. Let's go. Oh, come on, I was at the tail end of it. Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna be a really interesting dynamic between Nora and Jasper, because Nora's gonna be like, oh, you know, Warren is such a great guy, and you know, and you're gonna love him, and he's so great, blah blah blah, because she's, you know, she's his best friend. Like, she's everything, you know, she's everything that that Warren thought he was gonna have, and he's everything that she thought she was gonna have. So it's kind of like she's thinking, oh, my baby brother is gonna be so happy with this guy, because I would have been so happy with this guy. Because he's my best friend and he knows me, and you know, we've been friends forever, and you know, there's no reason that my little brother can't have the same happiness that I could have with this guy. And of course, you know, everyone's gonna be like, Nora, your brother isn't you. Like, how do we tell her that? You know, and I feel like Nora and Jasper probably have one of those relationships where it's like Nora always wants Jasper to be like her. You know, she's the golden child. She was the one who was supposed to be, you know, this Omega. You know, she was raised with these expectations. So she knows everything her parents want Jasper to be. So she's going to be the one who's like, oh, let me give you advice, you know, and he's going to be like, I don't need advice. This isn't me, you know, this isn't... Yeah, like Ash and Theo, where you know, they chafe against each other because of their differences. I think that would be a really interesting sibling dynamic where, you know, Nora is like, hey, I want to be here for you. I want to do, you know, all this stuff for you. I want to give you advice. I want to, you know, I want to be the good older sister. And the difference really between her and Jasper versus Ash and Theo is essentially Theo doesn't know the Ash from Adam. And Nora and Jasper have presumably been raised together, have, you know... but Warren essentially would have the same kind of dynamic as Ash and Theo, except for, you know, romantic for Jasper. where he, you know, he wants to be this, he's all gung-ho about being the sweet, you know, romantic alpha who's protective and of course Jasper isn't having any of it. Which is a that's a dynamic I would love to explore. Too helpful, too involved. Really, that's what it comes down to. I'm interested in the age difference between Warren and Jasper, mostly because I have it in my head that Nora and Warren are around the same age. Oops, I have to be going the other way, I think. Well, I don't know. Show me. Hiya. Hello. I'm interested in like especially since if the age difference is anywhere near pronounced, say like 2.5 to 5 years, you know, you have this Omega who is likely extremely resentful that his older sibling would ever think that she could, you know, give him advice, especially if he's, oh god, I don't know, let's say he presents at like 20 or 19 or 20, you know, you have this kid who's pretty set in his ways, you know, he's been around, he's been to dinner parties, you know, he knows what's expected of a beta. He doesn't, you know, he's not expecting his life to change as much as it is. +10 years apart. Oh yeah. Like he would be super mad. He'd be like, "Excuse you?" And of course Warren, you know, being the same age as Nora, that would be definitely a huge spot of contention for Jasper. I think he would be like, "Oh, you know, this dude thinks he knows everything about me, you know, just because he's been around, you know, for however long, and he's done, you know, all this stuff. Like, he's probably an old lecher, you know. He's probably like been with all these different Omegas. Like, why should I listen to him? You know." This is weird, you know, how come I can't just pick my own mate like I was going to when I was a beta? Like, why did my parents do this to me? Like, he's weird, and he's Nora's friend, and, you know. Yeah, like, he'd be like, oh, yeah, Nora is an alpha? Yeah, that sounds right. She's so bossy. Look at this bird trying to fucking catch me. Boom. Whoa. Yeah, that's right. I need to get him underneath this hanging bit of boulder over here. Oh, there's Toby. Toby! Come here. No. Oh, man. Alright, well, whatever. Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, she definitely thinks that, oh, Jasper would love this guy, you know? Like, why wouldn't he? Like, that's... This guy's so sweet, he's so kind, he's so nice, you know, blah, 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 Warren's the best. You know, and Warren's just like, I don't know. Like, Nora, I love you. However, your brother's kind of like, he doesn't like me. I'm not really all that interested in him. He's kind of young. Not really, you know, I'm not interested in the sass. He's a sass master. He's not a Dimitri level sass master, but he's a sass master. Oh yeah, he loves her, so he'll love Warren. Yeah, I love that. That sounds like something an alpha would think of. Oh, there's Toby. Toby, come fight this idiot. Ooh. Ooh. I get one. Ooh, shit. Toby just wrecked me. I was collateral damage. Okay. That definitely sounds like some... Whoa! I didn't expect him to come down here. Shit. No! Give me that coffee, Hannibal. Give me that coffee. Come here, you piece of shit. What, now that I'm healed, I'm too good for you? That's right. Come here. Nora definitely sounds like a quintessential alpha. Like, she definitely has, like, every alpha trait, you know. She's got the bossiness, she's got this thought that, you know, she reminds me definitely of Spiff's character, Zadie. With the way you guys are describing her, where she just comes to these ridiculous conclusions just based on like nothing. Like, oh, my brother loves me, he's gotta love the guy that I think is cool. Like, Jasper would definitely be he would be having none of it. I just feel like he would be like, how come I'm getting stunned all over the place over here? It's not that. Come on now. Let's go. I think Jasper would be, and I love this about him, that his name is Jasper, and you guys are going to make him very exasperated, because that name just suggests exasperated to me. Maybe it's the Fable 3, in my head, but Jasper is just an exasperated name. I hate fighting over here. No, I didn't want to. The easiest buff to get is his wing one, because he's like 90% wing. You know, and I feel like that's so valid, you know, for her to be like, I'm trying to protect my little brother, you know, I want him to be with a good mate, you know, and Jasper's definitely not going to see it that way. He's going to be like, no, you're trying to control me, you know, you're trying to control my life, my whole family is, you know, set against me, I want nothing to do with this. And of course, Warren's going to be like, yes, this is my obligation to my family. This is what I have to do. This promise was made and I'm going to, you know, see it through. Yeah, Jasper is not the stereotypical Omega, but is definitely a very JD Omega. In that he wants nothing to do with this. He's like, I'm my own man. I don't want any of your BS. It was on purpose. I believe that. I believe that. I don't know where I'm going because those stupid freaking creatures think that I'm Lynch. Stop it. I'm gonna kill you. If I can get you. Come here. It's you making my scout flies not do their thing. Die already. And it's your friend over here too. Alright. Where is he? Oh, he's all the way up there. I want to go. Alright. Oh no! Warren putting his foot in his mouth and calling Jasper his obligation? Oh lordy. That's not making him any friends. Put that in the ideas you don't want forgotten channel, because I'll forget that, but I really don't want to forget that. That's such a good one. If he were to call Jasper his obligation, I think he'd have a very angry boy on his hands, and that is good for us because we like that. We like angry boys. Oh, you're gonna get yourself stuck in that, buddy. Come on, land in that. Yeah, land in that. Get stuck in that. What? That's alright. I don't really want to fight you down there anyway. I think angry may be an understatement for Jasper in that case. I think Jasper is going to be absolutely infuriated by something like that. Being called on an obligation by, you know, this guy, and especially if he's called an obligation after he's developed feelings for Warren, I think that would be a major faux pas on Warren's part. And unfortunately, you know, Jasper would be like, oh yes, you know, I'm kind of developing feelings for this guy, and then this guy calls me what? You know, oh, obviously I'm never going to be anything else to him other than, you know, the kid he had to marry, you know, he was forced to marry. You know, he might as well, you know, have his mistress, because apparently I'm not good enough. I'm just his obligation. That would have been really cool if it was the kill shot. I think about that sometimes where I'm like, man, that move would have been really solid had it murdered this critter. Woo! Up here. Shit. Need to get a footy shot. My butt. There we go. That wasn't a footy shot, it was like a neck shot. Whoa! Just got wrecked. A sulk. Oh, don't treat me like a kid, but I'm gonna sulk about it. Like a child. Oh, wrecked. Ah, wrecked again. No, he definitely. I think if we were gonna do like, oh, Jasper, you know, throws a temper tantrum, that would be fantastic. Love that. Just because I feel like, yeah, it wouldn't help at all. It would be definitely a huge boon to the angst factor. Where do you think you're going? He's got skulls, which means he's gonna leave and then come right back here. Nora definitely would come over to play mom, mostly because she's got nothing better to do. That's terrible, but it's true. Like, she'd be like, hello, yes, I'm here to make meals and do sisterly things, my affection, blah, blah, blah. And, like, her brother would be like, excuse me, get out of here. Oh yeah, Warren definitely would not know what to do. Warren, if he's 10 years older than Jasper is, he's probably like 30, and he's like, I really don't want to be babysitting. This isn't what I signed up for. You know, like, I understand that this is my obligation. This is something that I have to do for my family, but also I really don't want to do it. I think he'd be relieved at least somewhat, because he would, oh, he's gonna sleep over here. You know what? Let's take mercy on this poor blue boy. There we go. Oh yeah, once they catch feelings, oh heck yeah, she's definitely going to be interrupting them. I probably won't make her walk into them. I guess it depends on how the story goes and like what I remember. But her kind of like accidentally cock blocking Warren and him being too prideful to tell her, hey, I caught feelings for your brother and now we're actually boning outside of heat. That would be a really interesting dynamic, you know, for her. That kind of exploration of their ability to communicate with Nora, Jasper's ability to communicate with Nora, Warren's ability to communicate with Nora, like Warren's ability to admit, you know, oh hey, by the way, you know, Jasper is now my actual love of my life. Because I think alphas have a really hard time admitting to a lot of stuff, and you know, admitting, hey, I was wrong. I kind of actually do love your brother. Blah blah blah. Because I think Nora has this overinflated idea of like of how their relationship is gonna go. Like, oh, Jasper really loves. He's gonna really love him because he really loves me. Blah blah blah. You know, he's gonna develop these feelings. Da, da, da. And then as time goes on, and she doesn't see evidence of that, because Jasper's not going to tell her. Who's going to tell her? Oh, Warren give her a key for emergencies? Yeah, probably. That's probably it.
This unidentified elder dragon is in the Coral Highlands. Let's head out, but proceed with caution.
No, the country has stayed alone. Poor Jasper. Poor guy. Let's look for something that's gonna murder me. No one wants to fight this guy who's gonna murder me. It's alright. see what's on the events panel. Bonus. Let's do this. Yo, them trying to boss him. Just not gonna go well. Dragon and fire. Blast, poison. Poison water. Yeah, we're doing poison. Boop. That goes over well. Yeah. Pack my stuff and call the coach. I'm going to the country alone. Y'all can't find me. Yeah, I can see it. I could definitely see it. Oh no, is valet caught between Warren and Jasper. Although I think, I mean, this is just me, you know, discussing my beta valets. A valet that came with Jasper would definitely hold loyalty with him. Oh, Warren pays him. Yike. Yike. Yeah, I can see it. Poor Jasper. You guys are torturing him. Anything you want kept as an idea, you have to put in the ideas. You don't want Forgotten Channel. Just laying that out there, because I will forget. I am so forgetful. I forgot yesterday was Friday. I forgot to do an update because I forgot yesterday was Friday. I was all over Discord. I was like, blah, blah, blah. Everything's great. And no one said, hey, JD, today is Friday. Actually, someone probably did say Friday. Someone probably did say it was Friday, and I just did not make the connection. Like, all I kept thinking was, I don't have D&D tonight. That means I don't have to do anything. Like, okay. I even had it written down in my schedule. Ooh, who am I fighting first? I'm gonna fight Angie first. Hiya. Because I'm already on my way there. Oh man. And he's like, I have my valet. Where am I going? I'm like reading. Oh, she's above me, isn't she? There she is. Hiya. theoretically, Anjanette could be a boy, but we always say Angie, so I always call Anjanette a she. Oh yeah, he would definitely have a mild-mannered valet. And if you want to brainstorm names for his valet, you are more than welcome to do so. I absolutely love my mild-mannered valets. That's number one, my favorite thing. Also my mild-mannered, Omega housekeepers a la Hudsword. Definitely one of my favorite things. I'm gonna have to come up with like an Omegaverse themed my favorite things song. That's a lot of poison damage, holy shit. Oh, come on, George! Okay, can I just explain how much I freakishly hate the name George? And like, I don't know why. Like, there's just some names that I consider to be unaesthetic, and I feel like that's true for a lot of romance writers, especially since like they always seem to give their main characters names like Griffin, and you know, it was spelled with a Y, and he's a pirate. Like, and like, I've had main characters named really dumb stuff just because I didn't know they were ever gonna be main characters. I never would have named Mortimer. Like, are you serious? I never would have done that. Like, thank God I got to name Tristan because, like, as a main character. Frederick and not Fred. Well, that's, you know, I support that. Because Fred is another one of those names that I really hate. And that's sad because, like, Fred and George from Harry Potter are, like, the best characters. And yet, like, I hate those names. Oh, I hate Rick. Oh, man. What a terrible one. Like, who came up with that? Who was the first person who named their kid Rick? I'm legit crying right now because I just hate that so much. Come here, you stupid. Come here. Come here. Come here. Going the wrong direction. There we go. Yeah, get her. Aw, she didn't... Oh, okay, got her now. That's what we like. We like that. We like it. We like it. A++, the gay. Ferdinand, and he's Spanish. Oh, he could be like the Spanish guy in Monster Hunter. He's like, oh, there's Benbarro right there. Oh, shoot. That's terrible. I think I just accidentally hit Benbarro, which is bad. I don't want to do them both at the same time. I want to do one and then the other. Shit! Yeah, that's why, because he's breaking freaking trees against me. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever. We get it. You're mad. I accidentally do 2 people at the same time. You know, that kind of did happen to me in college. Where it was just like, it was sort of an accident. You know, you just one day you wake up and there's 2 people in your bed and you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. Do you hear the drums, Fernando? Okay, is that what she says in that song? Like... But yeah, that actually did happen to me in college, where just one day I woke up and there was 2 people in my bed. And I was like, wait a second. And I wasn't even drunk the night before. Like, they just came into my room and, you know, they were in my bed. And I was like, hello? And I knew them, you know, they were my friends. And they were just like, well, you know, your bed is just so comfy. And whatever. And I'm like, okay, but I'm naked. No, I got scooped. And then we were dating. Well, we weren't dating, like, right then, but they convinced me to date them. Somehow. I mean, half of it, I think, was the fact that I didn't really mind that they were in my bed. Yes, I did know them. This was not like a random couple from the dorms or anything. I did know them. Oh, I definitely had a very interesting college experience. They definitely, I dated them for a while, even after college, and the best part about them was that they were very like, they were sexual as a couple, but they were very open to being non-sexual with me. So everything was just exactly how I wanted it. And that, I feel like that's so rare, especially with 2 people. You know, I feel like it's hard to find with one person where, you know, they accept the fact that, you know, you don't want to be intimate all the time. You know, you don't want to be touchy-feely. You're not a cuddly person. And I feel like it's super rare to find, you know, 2 people who are in a relationship with each other who are willing to bring in a third, first of all, and have that third be just only interested in, like, the cute, you know, do activities together. And it was a good experience. I definitely was spoiled by that. I had another couple that I dated too. I think the best part about dating couples is that most of the time they are sexually fulfilled by each other, so you can kind of just play like third wheel friend almost, and just go on dates with them and hold hands with them, and you can go do all that stuff without having any of like the expectation that you are the person who fulfills them intimately. Yeah, the official third wheel. Like, I mean, that's the title. You know, that's I'd love that. I love that. I love being like the official bestie, you know, like, and I was never involved. They were very careful to never get me involved in any of their drama whenever they broke up. Essentially, they broke up and, you know, we were no longer a thing. But when they broke up, they kept me completely out of any of their drama, and it was just a great experience. They were a great couple all around. I'm sad that they're not together anymore, but the way that things have happened, you know, I can't say that I could have seen it happening any other way. So, you know, it's just, I try not to get caught up in the could have beens. That's just not, I feel like that's not healthy, so I just don't do it. Also, with the way everything was going on, I would probably have moved anyway. So, it was funny because, you know, they were pretty much living their lives and doing their thing, and I would just like come to their apartment and, you know, have a good time and play video games. And I'd love to do a cute story like that with an official third wheel character who was romantically involved, but was asexual, like almost like the beta best friend, except for have them not be the beta, maybe have them be the omega or the alpha, just because I feel like that dynamic is so wholesome. like that whole idea is just like so wholesome to me, because it really was like peak relationship for somebody who's ace but still romantic. All right, this creator. Yeah, but I don't have a solid idea. Yeah, Omega would be totally different, difficult. But I love the fact that that asexuality is so dynamic, in that libido and sexual attraction are two different things. So I really don't think Heats would be all that difficult to portray, just because you can still have your libido, you can still be interested in getting off, but you just don't find any particular person or persons to be your cup of tea, for example. Like I can appreciate that someone is handsome. I can appreciate that someone would be sexually attractive to other people. I love to play into the fact that some people are sexy. I recognize like what attributes make people sexy, and I recognize that those attributes are so different among different people. Like, for example, some people find I don't know, you know, kinky stuff that's hot, you know, or like nice heavy set ladies, or ladies that can throw me into the sun. I love ladies that can throw me into the sun. I don't know about having sex with ladies that could throw me into the sun, but the whole idea about ladies that can throw me into the sun, yeah, that's my jam. I love that Amazonian concept, but I don't want to have sex with them. Like, I find it's so difficult to kind of like conceptualize asexuality in a lot of ways. Sex too close to the sun, get burnt, so that's fair. Is she gonna come back up here, or is that it for me? She's gonna go back up there as soon as I'm... Yeah? For real. No! Oh my gosh! I hate that. No! Leave me alone. Ah! I knew we'd get to sexuality here. My other topics probably aren't as interesting. Yeah, Angie probably should be the one screaming, "Leave me alone." I have been really the worst. But that's mainly because I didn't bring 2 traps, I only have 1. So Benbarro gets the one because Benbarro's cuter. I'm sorry, Angie. Ooh, I'm sorry, Angie. Alright. I see we already have ideas you don't want forgotten. Yes! Calling Jasper an obligation. Alright. Let's go. We're gonna find this moose. Moose. Where are you at? There he is. Boop. Oh, and I need to eat this. I knew we were gonna get on the subject of sexuality, just because that's how it goes. That's how it goes when you when you ramble. I'm so rambly. Oh, we're wait. Running all over the place. I'm supposed to go tomorrow to get some paint and paint miniatures. I'm pretty sure Alex wanted me to paint Warhammer minis with him. That's probably not gonna happen. I'm not gonna paint Warhammer minis. If I'm painting any minis, I'm painting my minis from D&D. Painting minis is cool. Okay, except, like, I'm not painting Warhammer minis. Like, he's gonna be like, oh, paint these Warhammer minis with me. And I'll be like, no, I'm not painting your stupid Warhammer minis. I want to paint my D&D minis. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Ooh. Like, he just randomly... Ooh, he shoved a tree at me. He just randomly has a tree. Okay, he doesn't even move that fast. I'm taking way too much damage for this. Totally off color. Oh, yeah, I should. Except for my problem is when I paint Warhammer minis, and I've painted a couple Warhammer minis. I like look at the box art and I'm like so anal about it. I'm just like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do it right. Hot pink Tyranids. Heck yeah. Frickin' get that Screamer pink Citadel paint. Just go at it. Son of a bitch. Come on again. I could totally do hot pink Tyranids. Although I'm not sure what Alex has. They might be Tyranids. We could totally do that. Hot pink Tyranids. I just think most Warhammer stuff is like super ugly. So like and all of my D&D minis are like really cute because, you know, they're like, oh, this is my elf. He's a child. He's 84 years old. You know, he still has his child elf name. He's a child. He can't have sex. That doesn't stop him from being a total pervert, because kids are total pervs. He never asked me again. Yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't either. Don't you walk away from me. Alright, so my my other stuff on my list is favorite gay movies. And my favorite gay movie is, and this is sad, I don't really have a favorite lesbian movie because most movies that I wish would be lesbian aren't. Like, there's some movies where I'm like, oh, you know what would really ramp this movie up to the next level? A lesbian romance, like right at the end, twist ending, the two ladies get together, heck yeah, throw this man under the bus. No, and it never happens that way. They always have that stupid thing where they pit the ladies against each other instead of doing the logical thing and making them lovers at the end. Hello? So, why is he clipping through the ground? Come on. Lame. Well, at least it makes it so he can't hit me. Make love, not war. Yeah, exactly. There was one French movie that I recently saw. Lady J, if you guys saw that one. Hello. The only logical end to that movie would have been the two ladies getting together. But no, we had to end it so that the man got everything, and, like, I mean, yes, I do appreciate that the young girl character, you know, had, like, everything was good with her. However, would have been better if, first of all, the main character, who was essentially the antagonist, learned something, first of all, and that thing was that she was gay. That would have been great. She doesn't even have to get the girl. Like, just as long as she learned that she was gay. Come on, turn around. I need your face. Yeah, that's right. Oh, somebody. I hate this throwing. It's like, he throws a tree like World Wrestling Federation assholes throw chairs. No! I'm gonna get wrecked. Ugh. Yep. Yeah. We're stunned now too. Thank you, Hannibal. I don't like fighting down here. I don't like this anymore. But my actual favorite gay movie would have to be Big Eden, and the reason I love Big Eden is just because it's set in this sweet fictional Montana, I think it's Montana town, where every single side character treats the main characters as if it's completely and utterly normal to be gay and to have like a romance and to, you know, oh, come on, Jeebus. Oh yeah, it's like small town America. It's like rural small town America. But everybody in it is like, oh, gay? That's awesome. Like, oh, gay? Cool. Which is so not reality, and that's what I really love about the story, is that it's this gay artist who comes to Montana from New York, back to his hometown, and he has to take care of his grandfather, who is ailing, and but he doesn't know how to cook. So, also he had a super, super crush on this one guy that he went to high school with. He like grew up with, and like his sort of relationship with this guy is kind of highlighted in the story. But that guy is like divorced. He has some kids, you know, and it seems like they have really great chemistry. But the whole idea behind the story is that he doesn't know how to cook, so he tries to get this this old woman to help. Like, he's like, oh, can you make these meals for my grandfather and me? But this woman's cooking is like terrible. So this rando guy who works at the convenience store is making him and his grandfather their meals, and he learns how to cook and blah blah blah. He does all this like sweet stuff, and he's like real quiet and he's real unassuming, and he's just this really adorable character, and he's so like desperately in love with the main character, while this main character is pining over his guy that he was in love with in high school, which is, you got this cute tension. So I definitely recommend it. It's really cute. You know you're gonna get a happy ending because JD doesn't do happy endings. None of your bury your gays shit here. I don't deal with that. I don't fucks with that. We might murder this creature. Yep. You definitely should see it. I totally recommend it. It's definitely a good one. If anybody else has favorite gay movies, make sure to share them in the chat. I would love to watch more gay movies. Just don't tell me anything that doesn't have a happy ending. I'm a total slut for happy endings. I can't handle sad endings. I will cry. Definitely not a real town here. Yeah, no, totally not. There's this great scene where like the old woman is like, oh, we need to set him up, so she has all these parties with women, with like available women, and like the town has to tell her that he's gay, and she's like, oh, okay, and so she has this party with all these available dudes. That's like my dream society. Another one of my my points was on Twitter. There is a bunch of conflict over aging up characters. That was something that I was a little iffy on when I was doing Quinn and Theo. And there seems to be like some controversy with aging up characters and introducing characters as kids and then allowing them to grow up and then to have them placed in sexualized situations. Apparently that is controversial because and I'm trying to kind of paraphrase what I understand the controversy to be, because I don't quite understand what, like, where the controversy comes from. And considering the fact that romance novelists very, very, very often have like a line of fictional people, and they take their kids and, you know, they give them romances, and then they take their kids and give them romances. Like, so it's very, very common for romance authors, published romance authors, to take kid characters and age them up so that they can be in romantic and sexualized situations, which is why I don't very much understand where any of this comes from. So I hate that thing. I hate that thing. I hate that thing, and I hate that thing. I hate those things. Why does everything have to be... Oh, okay, this one's in the Wildspire Waste. Let's do that. I hate all the things. I do. What I understand the controversy to have come from is and this is just me laying out what I have seen on Twitter, like what people are arguing, which doesn't make any sense. Wow, how do I get this in order in my head, because it's just absolutely wild to me. When you take a child character and you age them up and you make them into an adult, apparently, according to the Twitter hordes, you are, at heart, you are still sexualizing the child character. How that works, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure, like, how, like, me sexualizing an adult character translates to me sexualizing a child character. I sort of kind of see it from how I felt when I was working on Quinn and Theo, just because I was like, oh man, I really see Quinn and Theo as these kids, you know, they're so adorable, they're really cute, blah blah blah. I have them kiss when they are 13 and 15. 13 and 15-year-olds are very sexual in nature. That's just a fact of life. However, I am no longer 13 and 15, so I cannot really make comments on that. I don't think I'm allowed to like, if I was writing a coming of age story, you know, maybe I could talk about that. However, I am not. About the character at their new adult age so that the reader has time to adjust their new ages, I call bullshit on the controversy. I agree. I completely call... I call bullshit on that entire controversy, because, for one, to pretend that, first of all, 13 and 15-year-olds do not have sexual thoughts is a farce. That to pretend that they are like, ooh, you know, pure critters who've never thought of sex in their lives, you know, that's stupid. You know, God, I was into the Penthouse letters when I was 11 years old, and you know what? I was not traumatized by that. Like, there is not a single piece of me that was traumatized by that. I was traumatized by way weirder things than Penthouse letters. Like, I was reading porn for a very long time. And I didn't start writing porn until, wow, very late. I was definitely past 20 before I started actually writing porn. Knight, we love you. And to suggest that they couldn't theoretically grow up and be sexual beings is wild to me. And, you know, like, first of all, why are you policing this character's sexuality and, like, their intimacy levels? I guess I don't understand that. Second of all, they are fictional. There's nothing about them that should suggest to you that they have any ability to be manipulated or traumatized or anything like that. They are fictional. They're fictional characters. I think if I wanted to put teenagers into a sexualized situation, that should be my right to do. I don't want to do that. I don't write things like that. But if I wanted to, I would do it, and I would tell everybody else to fuck off. But I don't want to do that because I would rather. I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in characters who are not relatively around my age, or even older. The older aesthetic. There was also some controversy about like certain age gaps where for example, I'm pretty sure I would get crucified for Mel and Simon, despite the fact that Simon is 25 years old, because their age gap is so large. Their age gap is what, like 20, somewhere around like 25 years. I had this thought. I was like, yeah, love is love. You know, you can't really put like qualifiers on it, especially if they are, first of all, consenting adults, and second of all, fictional. They're entirely fictional. Like, I don't care if they were consenting. They're entirely fictional. Like, there is nothing about this that requires, you know, social justice. There's no real people involved whatsoever. And it's funny because, you know, you have all this horrible stuff happening in like real books and real novels, and people are on Twitter are coming after marginalized creators and fan fiction writers, you know, over this stuff that's properly tagged, that's, you know, got these very, very clear tags to them and warnings and content warnings and stuff like that. And they're kind of just attacking, they're punching down essentially, or they're chasing internet cloud, and, you know, they want, so maybe Senpai will notice me. I don't think that people on Twitter have conceptualized, you know, how they sound to the outside, and I don't think they give any room for nuance whatsoever. For example, I made a joke about something being sexualized because, you know, people were making this argument that the characters in it, the kid characters in it, and the adult characters in it were being sexualized and blah 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 blah. And really, yeah, I guess so, but they're just kissing, you know, it's just romance. Like, this is just romance. So I made this joke post that was like, oh, Beverly Marsh, you're so problematic, and it was about aging up characters. And because essentially what they did in the first movie and what they did in the second movie were the exact same thing. It's just that in one movie they were older, And somebody was like, "How is this sexualized?" You know, kind of coming at me, and I was like, that's really the joke. It's just it's romance. Either way, like it's misguided romance. However, it is romance. Kids kissing, that it never ever happened in any movie ever. Exactly. You know, I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, problematic. Oh. You know, I'm making this joke, and there's no room for nuance whatsoever on Twitter. So people are like, they take everything you say at face value, and you have to put the /s for your sarcasm, and it's like, I'm tired of you people. I shouldn't have to do this. So many dumb people on Twitter have made it impossible to make a joke. And not only that, but this joke was made months and months and months ago. And I'm sorry, if you're gonna comment on something that I made months and months and months ago, don't expect me to take the time to explain a joke to you, because there is not enough time in the day to justify me explaining a tweet I made 3 months ago to you. That's another thing that I hate about Twitter, is like I just try to retweet funny stuff and like cute stuff and stuff that is relevant to my interests, and everybody seems to be under the erroneous assumption that their opinion means something, and that they have to share it on Twitter. Like, they have a moral obligation to share it on Twitter, and I have a problem with that, mostly because, wow, I just post your cool stuff and leave me out of your weird posturing. Like, I don't have enough expertise on any subject to make a ginormous thread about it, except for like things that don't really mean anything to Twitter users. Like, I am not a professor of ethics. I could probably make a giant tweet thread that is all about the blizzard of 1888 in March, New York City, and that's about it. Yeah, everybody is under the erroneous assumption that their opinion means something. It's so infuriating, because I'm like, I scroll through my Twitter feed and I'm like, listen, I really love your art. I really love, you know, the pictures of your cute cat. But I don't really care about half the shit you made in this post, and especially when it's a call out, when people are like, oh, I'm calling out so and so because they did this horrible thing, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, first of all, 80% of human wisdom is minding your own fucking business, and the other 15% of human wisdom is knowing when to pull the camera out when the cops are there. Okay, that's human wisdom right there. There is only 2 elements to human wisdom: minding your own business and filming the cops, and that's it. Like, and that's my opinion. Like, if you care about that. Oh, wrecked. Yeah, it is. You know, it really, really is a sad state of affairs that, like, I even would have that opinion, you know, where 15% of wisdom is knowing when you're supposed to be filming the police. It's, and, you know, I'm not gonna go off on this, because I don't have the necessary qualifications to discuss, you know, the state of affairs, because I am super privileged. I am mega privileged. So I don't have the same I don't have the skin in the game for that. If I want to talk about that, I'm probably going to retweet someone who does have the necessary qualifications to talk about that. I'm not going to provide my opinion. I'm going to find somebody else's opinion that means more in that case. Because I don't have any skin in the game when it comes to that stuff. I have not had a single bad experience with a police officer, but I am not blind to what is happening and what this means for, you know, people who don't live in my town, because my town's demographic is decidedly white. Where I live, yeah, it's I would venture to say it's not a problem. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be filming the police. Like, because you never know. Especially if I were to come across somebody who does not live where I live, or maybe they, you know, just moved to where I live and they are not the predominant demographic that lives where I live, and the police have taken exception to that, because as far as I know, there could be a case of that. But I'm also not going to put my stupid opinion that, you know, on Twitter and assume that everybody wants to hear about it. Like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say on that subject. Like, I don't have any authority. Basically, my only authority is, I don't know, I don't even consider myself, like, as having an authority on writing. I don't have officially published, works. I have self-published on Amazon. I don't do, like, almost any advertising. I don't do any, like, real marketing. I'm too busy working full-time and writing other stories. You know, I'm working on commissions, and I'm working on Patreon posts, and that's what I've chosen to work on. And I don't do a whole hell of a lot of editing. Oh, this bee, she left. She leaving. She going over here. I know how to make a first draft, but that's not all that writing is. Writing is way more than that, and I don't consider myself any kind of authority on how to write or anything like that. I consider myself pretty darn good at a first draft, and that's about it. Shit. Thank you. I have honed the skill of making first drafts, final drafts for 4 years in college. That's that's where we're at on that one. First drafts or final drafts. Although that was not the case for my my honors thesis. I actually did a shit ton of editing on that, and a lot of my editing for things like that ended up being like almost full rewrites. It didn't seem like editing at all because I was doing like an intense amount of rewriting. Come on, get paralyzed. Oh, come on. If she hadn't finished it, I would have gotten more hits in. bad day for her. And there's nothing like creating a first draft. I think I like it. Yeah, it's a bad day. It's a bad day for her. There's nothing like creating a first draft. That's why I don't like editing. It doesn't have the same feel. It doesn't spark the imagination. It doesn't make me it doesn't spark joy. Creating that first draft and not quite knowing, you know, you kind of have an idea of like where it's going, but you don't quite know how it's going to get there. That's the joy of the first draft. That's the joy of creation, where you have this amorphous idea in your head how you want everything to go. Oh, I don't have a trap. Oh, sorry, babe. You have this idea in your head, but you're not quite sure what words you're going to use. You're not quite sure how the characters are going to respond. What if they do something that you didn't expect them to do? I didn't quite know, for example, with Reg and Frank, if Frank's feral alpha madness was going to last longer than the first time that, you know, they got together during that one heat, or if it was, you know, if it was just going to be that one time, or if it was going to be like every time he got horny over him, he was going to get like absolutely mad with lust. I had to discover that as I was writing it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is the joy of you know, DMing a campaign, and you know, you get to discover things, you know, and then you get to play them out, which is fantastic. I love doing that. I love playing it all out. I love having the characters kind of react to things, and they'll tell you, you know, they'll buck against you if they're doing something that's kind of out of character. That if you had this idea in your head, you know, oh, Ash will do this, she's like, no, I'm not, because that's not how I was made. That's not how the story suggests that I would act. Yeah, you have no idea how the characters are going to react, because you have some idea because you should know them as the people that they are. But when it comes to certain elements, you know, where you're putting characters into scenarios that they've never been in before, you know, like for example, let's say Warren and Jasper. Jasper thinks he's a beta for most of his life. So, you know, what's his reaction going to be to becoming an Omega, and especially to becoming the bride of, you know, this guy who's best friends with his sister? That's kind of something that you have to discover, and he has to discover, and he has to tell you how he's going to react to that. It's kind of like you never know quite how these characters are going to tell you they've had enough of your shit. and you know, they're gonna tell you, you know, hey, this is all I can take. This is everything that I have in me. And I've been waiting for Reg to tell me, hey, this is all I have in me. This is all I can take for quite a long time. Just because he is a very delicate character. He's a very fine thread. He's got a lot of internal. He's got a lot of internal angst. He's got a lot of this kind of internalized, and if you can use this word, I haven't come up with a better word for this, for like the Omegaverse, because I want to use misogyny as still against primary gender females, but essentially like Omega misogyny. He's got this internalized Omega misogyny, where he thinks, oh, you know, I'm a deviant, so I'm automatically bad. And, you know, all this horrible stuff happens to him. You know, we put him through all this horrible stuff, and then of course there's more bad things to come. You know, we're not quite done with the tension of that story yet. I know we're already talking about whatever the next story is going to be, and you know, if you guys are hard into it, I'm willing to do Jasper and Warren as the next Patreon story. Since we haven't had that discussion yet, and this seems to be that discussion.
This unidentified Elder Dragon is in the Coral Highlands. Let's head out, but proceed with caution.
That's not gonna happen, Handler. The one who gets kicked out of the beta-only village. Oh, Ames. Yeah, he's internalized all the things. Yeah, like Ames. Except for, I think Reg is way more open to his like perversions. I think Ames was suffering from a case of not recognizing perversions, not discovering perversions, and Reg has definitely let his mind wander. He's definitely had those fantasies. He's no stranger to like his own perverse nature. He's just a stranger to being able to have an outlet that potentially could take advantage of that. Oh yeah. They're not. Yeah, they definitely have some similarities. Especially major bad thing happens to them. They have a really sweet support system. What I want to explore with Reg, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna try to hang off of that a little bit. Is with Ames, I strove to make Giles a very solid character, an extremely solid support system for him that never ever wavered. There was nothing about Giles that could ever be considered wishy-washy at all. He was very all in from the very moment he met Ames. I try to make him super strong. I try to make him pretty much Gary Stu for Ames anyway. You know, we could see his flaws, and he did make a couple mistakes, but I wanted him to be very solid. And with Frank, I want to do something a little different. I want Frank to be a little wishy-washy. I want him to be I want Reg to be able to look at Frank and doubt him, and doubt his ability to be perfect, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like I want him to have this idea of Frank in his head that's like, wow, my mate is so great, and then have that totally smashed, and you know, and have Frank. Exactly, Frank doubts himself, and that's what's gonna be the major point. Is Frank doubts himself. Reg is definitely going to doubt him, but I need Frank to get this kick in the ass, to quit doubting himself, to recognize that everything that he has is just how it's gonna be. It doesn't matter how it got there. The ends justify the means. You know, we're moving forward, and you better move forward with us, because if you don't you know, if you don't keep running, the train's going to run you over. And I think that's important. I think that's important for Frank. I think that's important for Reg. And I really want to explore just how much Reg can take. I'm kind of pushing the boundaries of his character a little bit. There was another character that I kind of wanted to do that with, but then the story kind of got lost. I did probably like a first chapter, and that was for Poppy. It's on Patreon. I don't know how many people have read it. The Poppy story with the Geo Metro, where the very first chapter is, and I'll put a little content warning right here. Major abuse, spousal abuse. Poppy's the one who, right in the first chapter, faces like horrible spousal abuse, and you can see that he's developed this support system with his abuser, but also he has made it to the end of what he will accept, and he can no longer handle what is happening to him. And me getting to know Poppy was really interesting, because at first when I was writing it, I was like, oh my god, he's not going to do what I want him to do. He's not going to do it. Like, he's going to stay with this guy. He's not going to... Wow, this is a big puppy. That's a big puppy. That is a huge puppy. Wow. I think I already have a gold crown for Odogaron. My god, that's a giant Odogaron. That's huge. That's ginormous. Oh, he's fast. This is like messing me up because he's so big. Alright, good night. The Poppy story definitely, I really didn't think that he was going to leave. And discovering what characters will be able to do is always a chore. It's always a challenge to know how they're going to react in certain situations, how everything is going to play out. And I think it was really important to know what Poppy was going to be able to do, and what kinds of abuse he was going to be able to take. I think the hardest part about that was like, what am I going to do with this story if he refuses to leave? How much would I have to make him go through before he would? And that really kind of bothered me, because I've never been like abused by a romantic partner. But I know how difficult it is for people who have been abused by a romantic partner to eventually leave. They wouldn't have all these support systems in place for you to leave your spouse, trauma therapists and the like, if it was easy. And I needed Poppy to get in the car. I needed him to go. I needed him to do what he needed to do in order to survive. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't do what they need to do to survive, and they end up, in situations that they should never have been placed in. And sometimes they end up losing their life over it. So I didn't want that to happen to Poppy, and I think that the stress of not knowing what Poppy was going to be able to handle and he did leave at the end of the first chapter, but the stress of not knowing what Poppy was going to be able to do and what I was going to be able to put him through definitely made that story almost impossible to complete or to continue, just because, wow, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to be able to reconcile what I know with what might happen. So that was tough. That was definitely, and I think that's why that story ended up how it did. Oh, thank God I got that sharpened. There we go. Get that third buff. I'll have to look, see if we. Oh, that's working. I'll have to see if I have any questions on the Patreon. Gaming will always continue well. I have not fought Kieran yet tonight. Kieran is the one that would murder me. So, but have a good night. I will talk to you guys later, probably on the Discord. And I'll just be chatting away because I'm very chatty. So anybody who's still lurking, you can hear me chat too. You know, anybody who's lurking. Still have, oh, I don't know, a couple things I would say. I try not to bore with too many opinions, just because I do know that my opinion is shit. I will tell you my opinion on the Oxford comma. Which is, I always use the Oxford comma. I think the Oxford comma is important. Ooh, yikes. When it comes to being a writer, you know, everybody wants to be discovered. There's a lot of work involved. I've queried a lot of agents through the years. I really don't think, like, I do think that one day Omegaverse could be mainstream. I do think that. But that day is not this day. I don't consider Addison Kane to be mainstream at all whatsoever. You could go your whole life without knowing who she is. I don't know if you could go your whole life without knowing who Nora Roberts is, unless you live under a rock. I know that you could live, you know, your whole life without knowing who, like, Courtney Milan is, or gosh, what's her name? There was one author that I used to read a lot. Catherine Coulter, okay, and wow, like, talk about not aging well. Like, most of her Victorian or, you know, historical romances just did not age well at all. I definitely have way fonder memories of them, like when I was a kid, than I do now. I reread a couple of them, and I was like, oh, this is rape fantasy the novel, which is totally fine. Like, I mean, some people are into that, but also like, wow, this is a mainstream book. Like, that's intense. I did not expect it at all. I'm gonna sharpen this while he's struggling. There was one that was on a boat that I remember. I forget what it's called, Devils something. And I remember thinking, my goodness gracious, I liked this as a kid. That's just wild to me. Just this, the premise is this girl, first of all, she's gonna be marrying a guy, a dude, whose name's like Edward or something, I don't know, and it's the day before her wedding, and this Italian guy who's like old enough to be her father, which age gap is fine, love is love, I do that, and we like this, we love the age gap. However, this creepo, who is old enough to be her father, kidnaps her. See, this isn't love, this is kidnapping. This creepo guy, old enough to be her father, kidnaps her and essentially rapes her. And by essentially, I mean he does. He rapes her. And, all this horrible shit happens. And then somehow she's in love with him. Like, she's still trying to get away. She actually gets away from him. She actually escapes from him. And then she's like, oh, but I'm in love with him. And I'm like, that's... but okay. Somehow, little me determined that this was romantic. And apparently so did hundreds of other people. And so did a publisher. Which is, I guess that's valid. But, you know, whenever I think of, like, how, I don't think my perception of romance was skewed at all by that. Like, in, like, real life romance. I don't think that had anything to do with anything when it came to what I considered acceptable in my own life and what I considered acceptable in mainstream media. I think that's acceptable in mainstream media, and I also don't think it's acceptable in real life. So whether fiction changes anything, it doesn't. Let's be real. And some kids might have some altered perception of reality based on fiction. However, that is not my fault. That is not the author's fault. That is not anybody's fault except for their parents who and their education system that failed them. And that's my statement on that. That's my useless opinion. But they really didn't age well. Mostly because, you know, you create this idea of what acceptable romance is when you're older. And you come to recognize, like, what is abuse, you know, by reading things that are dark and by reading things that are abusive, you know, like, oh, this is being framed as abuse. This is objectively wrong. And even if it's not being framed as abuse, even if it's not being framed as wrong, you can see it with your own eyes, you know, and there's a tag on the story that's a abuse. See, the thing is, with Catholic culture novels, there's no tags. There's no tags on novels. There's no tags on real life. So, you know, when you read dark fiction like that, it kind of puts it in perspective because you're seeing it from another point of view. You're seeing it from an outside perspective. Fast. He's a fast boy. That's what I wanted. That's the one. After we've wrecked this guy, check to see if there's any more questions on the Discord and the Patreon posts. We're pretty much kind of doing this till the wine runs out. Oh. No! I always forget that the bug can do this, which is terrible because it's like the coolest thing the bug can do. No, I've got a headache. No! Yeah, that's right. Oh wow, that was weird. Is his tail still around? Nope. That's okay. My internet is sometimes really slow. Nope, no comments that I see. Very interesting win. I guess it blew up. In terms of other things that I was going to address, one of them is how I feel about children accessing my fiction, and by children I don't mean children. I mean like teenagers. I think I've addressed this in other streams before, but I was thinking about it today, and when it comes to children accessing my fiction is it's not safe for work. It's labeled not safe for work. It's labeled explicit. It has all the tags that it needs to have, and I have mentioned previously that when I found the porn stash when I was 11, and there is no amount of pleading, begging, crying, whatever, that will make bad parents
this unidentified elder dragon is in the Coral Highlands. There is no amount of
screaming, crying, begging
Let's head out,
that anyone can do that will
caution.
Make good parents any better than they already are. I consider my parents to be very, very good, and whether they knew or not that I was dipping into the porn stash, who knows? But my porn stash was definitely not on the internet, so it had nothing to do with internet rules, anything like that. In fact, I believe one of the first things that I learned about the internet was that titties ain't free, so you don't go looking for porn on the internet because it will give you it'll give you some consequences that you really don't want your IT capable father to find out about, which is like viruses and bad stuff popping up on your computer. So all of the porn that I was interested in when I was a kid was written stories from Penthouse Letters. Maybe that's why I write erotica now. I write a lot more tasteful erotica than Penthouse Letters is. But I remember thinking when I was a kid, wow, wouldn't it be interesting to write for Penthouse Letters? Although it seemed as though every single one was written by the same person, or maybe even a robot designed to write those stories, because they all kind of seemed very, very similar. So, I digress. I don't care if kids read my fiction. I really don't. I don't care. I don't have any skin in that game. That's, in fact, I shouldn't even have an opinion about that, because I am not the child. I am not their parents. And I have nothing to do with whether or not a kid reads any of my fiction at all. That has nothing to do with me. So I pretty much refuse to have anything to do with that. I don't think I should have anything to do with that. That's not something I'm interested in having all that much of an opinion on, other than my lack of opinion, that I don't give a shit. I think kids should be able to read whatever they want to read. And if that happens to be porn, that happens to be porn. The kids are interested in porn. It's just, that's a totally normal thing. You can't look at me and tell me that an 11-year-old isn't gonna jerk off to porn. That's a thing. I'm sorry. Like, oh, whoa, children are so pure, they don't have any sexual thoughts whatsoever. Fuck off. I recently came across some jaghole on Twitter. And why am I on Twitter? I don't even know why. I guess because of art. But I keep coming across these jagholes on Twitter who was like, a 15-year-old can't have a relationship with another 15-year-old. It's just wrong or something. And I pretty much went off on them to the point where they deleted all of those tweets, because they did not look good. That's such an inappropriate thing to say. Who is a 15-year-old supposed to have a relationship with, if not another 15-year-old? I can't even imagine what the thought process was when it came to that. I cannot even conceptualize what the thought process was there. I suspect that there was no thought process there. What do I need? I don't really need any of this stuff. I need Kieran pieces. But I don't want to do Kieran because he's gonna kick my butt. I don't want to do any of these. Okay. We have to just make sure that we don't kill him. My next AO3 story, I'm not sure what that's going to be. Right now it's just a stone's throw. We're just working on Triss and Mort because that has no set update schedule. I don't have any idea of like when it's going to be finished, so we don't really have to worry about my next AO3 story. But I was thinking about doing Georgette and Halwil just because they would be my first alpha omega male female story, and that is crazy. I don't have any het stories that are AO. I have AB. I don't have AO. I have BO. I don't have AO, which is funny because I find that kind of silly just because Addison Kane, you know, she's the closest you get to being mainstream Omegaverse, and she's I own Omegaverse. I invented it. And she's made an entire career on AO MF stories, that's just funny to me because I have none. I don't do that. We don't do that here. Oh, come on. I should be immune to that. What the hell? I didn't switch my decos. That's okay. Yes, get stuck in that trap. Oh, wrecked. The first time I was ever going to hunt this dude, my boyfriend was like, he's bigger than Devil Joe. And I was like, no, that's not, no. No, he's not. And turns out he's not. So, there you go. He's like half the size. Maybe. Maybe 2/3. Give him the benefit of the doubt here. Although I tend to get hit by Bill Burrow more than I get hit by Devil Joe. Although I haven't done Savage Joe yet, just because I'm a coward. I've done Seething Bagel, but that's just because I'm pretty sure that was a quest. Really? Oh shit! Yes. Ooh, I'm stunned. I love how he looks like a moose and an Arctic squirrel. Moose and an Arctic squirrel walk into a bar. Oh, I can tell you guys a joke I heard today. No! Oh, he got me. Dang it, he anticipated that. Alright, so a cow gives birth. Does that mean she's decaffeinated? But, oh shit. Oh shit! No! I'm gonna enjoy putting you in a trap, buddy. I want my free shit. The amount of people who play this game without ever using items just freaks me out. Oh, a lizard. He's a little lizard. One of my favorite things about doing commissions and having a Patreon is all the feedback, and all the encouragement. Really, I feel like we have such great chemistry. We have such a good, like, feel good kind of relationship. Today, you know, acting like a support group, you know, trying to be empathetic and have an impact on each other that's positive in all ways. I always try to say the right thing, you know. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't quite happen that way, where I don't get to say things the way that I really want them to come off sometimes. But I feel like patrons are very forgiving. And it's funny because, you know, I spend all my time writing romance, and sometimes I can really muck up interpersonal relationships. So hopefully, you know, if I've made any serious gaffes, they'll tell me. They'll be like, JD, you made me sad. Although sometimes I have made people sad or mad. And I can recognize how I've done it. But I recognize how I have done it. I recognize that their feelings occur as a response, but I have trouble acknowledging that those feelings are valid. So, if you can be patient with me. No! Yes. That is sort of appreciated. I feel like in this day and age, these children have their cancel culture. Which is fine. But if you're going to use cancel culture, the cancel culture I see as kind of like witchcraft, where you use witchcraft in order to be powerful against a person that you cannot be otherwise powerful against. So somebody who you don't have political power against, like say somebody who is politically more powerful than you. Your senator, for example, you could try to curse your senator because, you know, he's fighting against your right to marry who you love or something like that. You know, like that's who you use witchcraft against. You use witchcraft against people who are powerful, and thus you should use cancel culture against people who are powerful, not against marginalized people. Like, for example, there was some call-out campaign against some disabled like sex educator recently, and you almost want to just look at these people and be like, just admit it. You hate disabled people. Just admit it. Just say it. Just say that you are into eugenics and let it go. You know, then we can see you for who you really are, and we don't have to waste our time on you either. It's, you know, it's unbelievable what people will say because other people will just feed on that outrage. For some reason, we have this addiction problem with outrage, and we can't help it. We love the dealers, I guess. And when I see this outrage, you know, oh, this disabled person did this horrible thing to me. Really? Or is it that you just hate that disabled person? You just couldn't let him do something. Because first, oh, and that's another thing. This is another useless opinion that I have, because I am not disabled in any physical, and I don't know if depression is a disability. Is that considered a disability? I don't know. I don't care. I don't feel disabled. So, I am not physically disabled in any way. However, I really cannot stand this idea of this infantilizing of disabled people, and especially disabled characters as well. I have disabled characters, and you know, people are like, oh, they're my child, my baby. Well, no, they're my baby, first of all. But this idea that, you know, that the disabled cannot be sexual, that they don't get off, that they don't have, you know, these sexual needs, is so wrong. And you know, you have these people who are like, you know, this isn't how I imagine disabled people as being, so I, you know, what was the controversy? It like happened very recently, where, you know, this woman clicked a link that said, explicit scene, not safe for work, you see my bits, you know, like, of this disabled creator, and decided, and her friend tweeted that he had flashed her without any acknowledgement that it was a link that she clicked, without reading the description, without reading any of the content warning. And then she claimed that there was no content warning when she admitted that it was a link that she had clicked. She implied that there was no content warning, and that you know, it was like being flashed in real life or whatever, you know, and her friend had characterized it as like a sexual assault, that she had clicked a link. And of course, because of these allegations, you know, he's losing sponsors and blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, you clicked a link that you didn't read I saw the link. And she admitted that it was a link that she clicked. And I just find it unbelievable, you know, that we're out here using cancel culture to destroy the life of a disabled creator, because, you know, because we're obsessed with outrage and bringing down people, and that's my useless opinion on that. Are you limping, buddy? There he is. Done it. Everybody needs to get over cancel culture, because it's just punching down. It's not punching up. We need to be canceling real people that need to be canceled. Like the president. And that's all I have to say about that. Alrighty, everyone. We are at pretty much 2.5 hours of me blathering on about fuck all. So, I think that's going to be it for tonight. And, anybody who was on, thanks for joining me. And,
This
thanks for
unidentified
listening
elder
to my
dragon is in
dumb
the Coral
opinions
Highlands.
that don't mean
Let's
anything.
head out, but proceed with caution.
Take them with a grain of salt. Try not to cancel anyone. Try not to dogpile anyone. That's my lesson for tonight. Unless they're the president, then vote blue 2020. Have a good night.